Alrighty guys, how's it going out there? Rooster and 10, roostercb.com. Just looking at a few things that'll be coming to the website here. Like to do this from time to time whenever I'm adding, several items that haven't been previously carried. So a little bit of variety here, some simple stuff, well, it's all pretty simple stuff there, but some stuff that people have been asking about, a couple of cool items, and, a few small items worked in the mix here. So first things first, we'll just say, start out with this, real simple. This is just the Striker 447 replacement power cord. Pretty sure that this works on the Anytone Quad 6 as well, or any other radio that takes that style of plug. I know for sure the 447, the Quad 6, Anytone, and I guess the Ranger 676 also takes that. So people ask about these for whatever reason. They lose this half of the cord, or they're buying used radios that don't have it. And got some of these in. So these will go on eBay and the website. Of course, they will be cheaper on roostercb.com. This is the high power Galaxy plug. This goes on, I'm trying to think what radios this works for. I know an RCI X9. I think the Galaxy 94 takes it. Connex 3300 HP Max. It's a 48T cord is what they call it. So the Galaxy 48T back in the day took it, and I'm sure the 95 and the 93, they probably took it as well. But a few modern radios that take it. The 98 does not take it. The Longhorns don't take it. But there are a few radios that use this cord. So I can't remember if these are on the website right now. If they are, I haven't had them in a while. So we'll get those listed up on the website. I think on eBay they're like $50. Probably do a little bit better now on the website. And that's shipped, of course, free shipping. Galaxy replacement meters, you got your two different types here. The main difference being this one has the modulation section on it, and this one does not. The GAL1 doesn't, but they're essentially, the same meter, DX meter 1 and the GAL1 meter. I used to keep these. I haven't had them in a while, but again, stuff people ask about. I sell a ton of the Cobra meters, the Cobra 29 replacement meters. So when I do that, people ask about the Galaxy replacement meters. So figured we'd get a couple of those in. Moving on. So this is one probably pretty popular. This is actually a pretty heavy duty antenna switch. They rate this one at 1,000 watts, but I believe this one's rated more at 1,000 watts continuous, where the CX5 and the little Workman switch are 1,000 watts intermittently. So this is a pretty heavy duty switch. This thing probably weighs a couple of pounds versus the other ones that are super lightweight. Now, there's not anything wrong with the other antenna switches I sell. The CX5 and the Workman, I think it's a 201 or something is what the Workman one is. Those are fine, little cheap antenna switches. They get the job done. But for somebody wanting something a little nicer, still not going to break the bank, this will be the way to go. Really nice antenna switch, 3 positions. And for those that don't know, yes, you can turn this around and do 3 radios to 1 antenna. Okay, it doesn't know the difference between an antenna and a radio. All it knows is positions. So you can do that. Okay, a lot of people like to buy these and use them for radio switches, which is fine. You can use the cheap ones for that too. But this is a little bit better switch. Again, I sell a ton of the other ones, but I got probably a dozen of those in, so we'll see how those do, see if people buy them. This is a familiar item. This is the Watergate box, 20-second playback box from Mr. Illuminati. And this one runs on 12 volts, 15 volts, 13 volts, whatever. It runs off a power supply, so you don't have to use a 9-volt battery with it. Now, on these, I do want to say, I need to test this one and check it out. But for radios that require the mic to be plugged in to get sound out of it, last I checked, they didn't work for that. So your Strikers, Galaxies, Connex, Ranger, that's fine. But the Cobras and Unidens that require the mic to be plugged in, he's not going to wire it up for that. So last I checked, he didn't anyway. So we'll check this new batch before we get them listed. And I will put that in the description if that's the case. That is the case with the previous version. I know that. The one with the 9-volt battery, I know for sure. you can't run it on Cobra radio. So we'll see. But again, all your other radios, Striker, Galaxy, Uniden, or not Uniden, Striker, Galaxy, Connex, Striker, Galaxy, Connex, Ranger. We'll get there here in a second. They'll work for those. All right, so these mics have garnered some kind of recent popularity, and they're pretty cool mics. The little Superstar, what they call them, Quick Shooter, Super Shooter, whatever they're called, by Workman. They're pretty cool. Got them in gold. So we'll see. Some people even like to just junk them out and use them as like a push to talk because the button and the way it kind of fits in your hand. So some people will buy these with no intention of talking on them, and they'll just buy them and junk them out and use them as a push to talk switch for their amp, or if you're running rack gear, studio gear, EQs. The EQs have got really popular last couple of years, so people will use it for that. But there you go. That's pretty much it. And the most important part, do not use as a weapon. So we don't want to see anybody trying to rob a bank or hold up their local gas station with the Superstar Super Shooter, okay? You don't need to be on Channel 5 News because you're trying to rob somebody with this thing. Okay, moving on. Last couple items here, and we'll wrap this up and get these items listed up on the website tonight, updated. So you see these mic plugs and the corresponding connector that your mic plugs into. Not really announcing that I'm selling these. We've had these for a while. But what I am going to talk about is going to make some mic extensions, some mic cord extensions with this straight mic cord. Most of the extensions out there are the curly Workman cords or whatever, which I'll continue to get those. They're little cheap things. People like them. The EX4, Extension 4, whatever it's called. I guess it's called an EX4, I think, because it's 4 inches long. But yeah, they're pretty short cords. I don't know, something like that. And what you run into is, the reason we're going to do some of these mic extensions, when you got something like a Superstar mic, they got a pretty short cord on them. And what ends up happening over time is you put this plug in a bind over and over and over. I can even feel this one move around a little bit. I think it's got to shorten it. And this is the failure point. So right here, after you put so much tension and stress on this, you end up having a broke wire. Okay, that's just how it goes. Cheap mics, mass production, and with pretty much any mic out there, not just picking on the Superstar, but it happens with just about all of them. So you get the mic extension, it takes that tension and stress off of this part, and you'll have a little bit better connection with the mic extension on there. So the lengths I'm thinking about, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on here, is probably just going to do 2 feet and 5 feet. I think that's plenty. 2 feet should be enough for most people. But the reason I say 5 as well, a lot of people will have their, like let's say you're on a bass and you have like a big tube amp that has a loud blower on it, or even a transistor amp, and you set that thing, several feet away from you, and you have to tune it. Well, look, how are you going to reach your amp with this? Your amp is way over here, and your radio system's way over here, and you're stretching this dang cord out trying to get to your amp. I've done it myself. So this will, get you a mic extension, and that'll enable you to walk over to your amp with your mic in hand, tune your amp, and then go back to your radio desk or whatever. And I think 5 feet will be plenty for that. If you guys think that's not enough, you can let me know. We can do 6 or whatever you guys think. But I think 2 and 5 is kind of the magic ballpark number there. Okay, last thing, and this is something a lot of people have asked about, and I said I might start carrying it. So this is some RG400, and these jumpers are actually made in-house by our Rooster Radio Connection jumper specialist, a.k.a. not me. But we're going to be carrying these in 6 feet, 12 feet, and 18 feet lengths. It is the, get my finger quotes out, military spec RG400. I know that's a big selling point. That's a catchword that people use, military spec, to get people's attention. But that's what it is. That's how it's advertised, so that's what we'll call it. The RG400, really popular stuff. It holds a shit ton of power. It's lossier than like LMR 400 Ultraflex, so that's why I don't recommend people to run this for like a 100-foot run. It's perfect for jumpers. and 18-foot mobile runs. But when you start running like 100 feet of it, it becomes quite lossy compared to something like a LMR 400 Ultra Flex. So it's really good stuff in short runs. It's basically a baby version of a 393. And we may start using this stuff to make some ballons out of eventually too, because not everybody wants the 393 ballon. They don't need that kind of power handling. So may end up using some of this stuff to make some ballons in the future. But 6 feet, 12 feet, 18 feet, and the ends that are going to be on here are my favorite ends. The max gain PTFE Teflon ends. I know a lot of people are hung up on Amphenol. Amphenol is a brand. I do sell the Amphenol ends. They're considerably more expensive than the max gain ends. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. The max gain ends will hold everything that a PL259 is supposed to hold. I've seen them hold 10,000 watts PEP. So if you're running more than 10,000 watts PEP, you probably don't need to be running this type of connector anyway. You probably need to upgrade to a DIN, okay? I know people they'll run that. They'll run 6,000, 7,000 bird through a damn PL259, and then when it goes out, they're flabbergasted. They can't believe that it failed, okay? If you're running more than about 4,000 bird, you probably need to get away from this, okay? That's really the max. So 4,000 bird, 10,000 PEP is what I would recommend, is what I would kind of rate these at. And if you get long-winded and get crazy, they may fail there, but that's a pretty safe number to run a PL259 at. And they may take more than that. If you're not super long-winded, they'll take more than that. But good coax here, guys. We'll get this stuff listed up. And again, people were asking about it, asking if I would start carrying it, asked if I had any intentions to start carrying it. So here you go. These are made in-house. The other coax that I carry, the 213, the 400 Ultra Flex, and the 240 Ultra Flex is all ABR coax, which does an excellent job. I run those jumpers myself. I'm probably not going to run RG400 myself. I don't have anything against it, but I like the 400 Ultra Flex from ABR. That's my pick personally, but it is bigger and, a little bit gawkier to work with. But that's just what I've always used. But this is good stuff here. I may end up running some of this in a mobile, so we'll see. But that's it, guys. That's just some of the stuff coming to the website here. Figured I'd let you guys know. I don't know if it'll be on there immediately after this video post, but we'll try to get all this stuff listed up within 24 hours. Because remember, I have to list it not only on the website, roostercb.com, I'll have to list it on eBay too. So it's a little time consuming to get that stuff up there, take pictures and all that stuff, but we'll get it done. Alrighty, I appreciate everybody's patience, appreciate everybody's support of the business and the YouTube channel. As always, you guys have a great one out there, and thanks again. Enjoy the hobby, and have a great day. Rooster and 10, roostercb.com. See you, bye.